Okay, good evening. Welcome to
FunMath number 89.
FunMath number 89, which is totally different and a different time and a completely different day than FunMath 88, which has nothing to do with this, right? We definitely didn't film FunMath 88 2 minutes ago, right? Maybe. Okay, so we're in section 2.2 of Art of Problem Solving's pre-algebra book, which is about simplifying expressions. Okay, so we may have just done one in FunMath 88 about complicated expressions with no square roots in them, but here we have an expression that's complicated because it has a square root. Okay, so how do we simplify a square root?
We need to factor out squares.
We need to factor out squares.
We write this as the square root of 2 to the 4th times 2 times x to the 4th times x.
Okay, so the interesting thing we're trying to do here, when it's all multiplication inside of square roots, is just factor out squares. Okay, so what are the squares that come out of this?
Well, this turns into 4x to the 4th times the square root of 2x.
Okay, almost. You almost got it right. You made one little mistake.
It says 2 squared is 4.
Yep.
X to the 4th is x squared.
Okay, so we have, here, right, x squared. Okay, so we have the square root of 2 to the 4th, which is
2
squared, which is 4. We have the square root of 2 that we can't simplify, so that has to stay inside the square root. We have the square root of x to the 4th, which is x squared, so that comes out. And then we have the square root of x, which is
just the square root of x.
Can't be simplified. So this complicated expression, the square root of 32x to the 5th, simplifies to be 4x squared times the square root of 2x. Now, let's just check and see that that's true by squaring both of these expressions and seeing if we get the same thing. What do I get when I square the square root of 32x to the 5th?
You get 32 times x, 32x to the 5th.
Okay, I get 32 times x to the 5th. Okay, let's see what happens when I square this. Okay, I get 4 squared, which is
16.
16. I have x squared squared, which is
x to the 4th.
X to the 4th, and I have the square root of 2x
which is
squared,
2x.
which is times 2x. So I get 16x to the 4th times 2x, or
You mean times here?
yeah.
Times there.
So I get
32 times x to the 5th.
32 times x to the 5th. Okay, awesome. So one other thing I just want to say real quickly is that most of the time you cannot simplify square roots. So you have a, give me your pencil better than mine. You have a famous thing in geometry for right triangles called the Pythagorean theorem. Have you ever heard of that?
A little.
You've heard of it a little. Okay, and that says that the hypotenuse squared, c squared, equals a squared plus b squared. So in other words, what this says is the square of the hypotenuse, c squared, equals a squared plus b squared. Which, if we take square roots, we can say this is c equals the square root of a squared plus b squared. Okay. Unfortunately, that's as much as that can be simplified.
Because we don't know what a and b are.
Well, no. If it was the square root of a squared times b squared, we could take the square root. But because there's a plus underneath the square root, we don't know what this is. There's no way to simplify it any more than that. This is not equal to, what do you think the really common mistake of thinking this would be equal to?
C is a plus b.
This is, right. So this is not a plus b. It's the square root of a squared plus b squared. And you can see really quick that it's not a plus b. If a is 1 and b is 1, this is the square root of 2, right?
Yeah, which you can't.
Which is not equal to 2. It's not a plus b. So there's no way we can simplify that. So when it's multiplication only under a square root, like our example, 32x to the 5th, only multiplication, you can simplify.
Yep.
When there's addition under a square root, you cannot simplify. You understand that?
Yep.
You ever going to make that mistake?
Maybe.
Maybe? What do you think? Yeah. If you were going to bet, do you think you'd ever make a mistake on this? You'd bet yes? Okay. Right. Good job, sweetie. Good job on these. On this one movie. Only one movie that we made tonight. Only one.